geht's wieder. Okay, so nahe heran. Hier mit meinem Let's Play von Wright, Ace Attorney, Spirit of Justice. Und beim letzten Mal haben wir die Investigations abgeschlossen. Und zum Beispiel haben wir von Larry erfahren, dass er zu 100% hinter dem steht, was Alan meinte, von wegen mit dem Zeitsprung, weil er nämlich einen Flugsaurier gesehen haben will. Bla. Ist das... Was? Ja, und jetzt fängt auch schon die Verhandlung an und wir müssen irgendwie tatsächlich beweisen, dass Zeitreisen möglich ist. Also zumindest so, wie es halt aussehen kann, will, bla. Vor Edgeworth. Der übertriebenste Realist auf Erden. Für den man glaubt, dass Fantasie, was ist das? 22. September, 9 Uhr, District Court, Courtroom Number 6.
Court is now in session for the trial of Alan Wright!
The defense is ready, Your Honor. The prosecution has been ready for a while, Your Honor.
Seeing so familiar faces gathered together like this, I feel as though I'm a grand reunion.
Der Richter versteht mich.
It makes me want to go out for dinner and drink and reminiscence with all of you.
Oh, that sounds like a great idea. I was dying for a real burger the whole time I was away. We could make it a welcome back party for Maya. How about it, Edgeworth? I have no intention of cavorting with my enemies. Now then, Your Honor, let's start with trial at once. With this trial at once. Für die Für Leute, die nicht solche komischen Geräusche machen wie ich, weil ihnen gerade langweilig ist. So.
Oh, still not one for light-hearted banter, are you, Mr. Edgeworth?
Jokes and good humor are beyond worthless in a court of law. Guess we'll just have to have the party without him then. However, right after the conclusion of this trial, I might consider joining you for your little welcome back party. I certainly wouldn't mind an invite at the very least. You're still as emotionally constipated as ever, I see.
Now then, Mr. Edgeworth, if you could please go over the details of this case for us!
The victim was Thomas Gooseberry, a servant in the Sprocket household. He was in attendance at a wedding reception that occurred from 7 p.m. to 10 p.m. Mr. Bloomsbury apparently felt some animosity toward Alan Wyatt, and so, a bit after the reception ended at 10 p.m., he assaulted Miss Wyatt with the intent to kill her. The defendant fought back and ended up killing Mr. Bloomsbury.
In other words, it was justified self-defense, correct? If that's the case, then the defendant might not be criminally responsible!
He's right. Worst case scenario, I could go for self-defense to avoid a criminal charge. I wonder how Edgeworth plans to counter that, though. The prosecution's first witness will make my view on the matter clear, Your Honor.
Very well! Bailiff, please bring in the first witness!
Please state your name and occupation, witness. Emma Skye, forensic investigator. And I'd just like to say, sir, that being in the same courtroom as you is a great honor. Hmm? Oh, that's right. You're a fan of Edgeworth, aren't you, Emma? We're good friends and all, Mr. Wright. But just this once, I intend to faithfully and fully testify for the prosecution. And I do mean that wholeheartedly. I expect no less from you. Yes, sir! I'm going to do my very best! Looks like you lost the popularity contest to Mr. Edgeworth, Nick. Meh, I really could care less. Besides, she'll see who's the better lawyer once I win this trial. Yeah, maybe then you'll actually really care less.
No, Detective Sky, if you please!
Ach Mann, immer diese Fangirls, die dann deswegen meinen müssen, hier zu imponieren. Aber gut, ich komme auch damit klar. The murder weapon was a clock called Timekeeper. The victim was hit with it from behind, and he fell over right into the lantern. The defendant was spotted then, standing in front of the body holding the murder weapon. The victim was struck twice, by the way. He was struck twice? That's right. There's no mistake about it. The first blow was to the back of the victim's head. It was hard enough to knock him unconscious. Yet, despite the fact that he had been immobilized by the first blow, the defendant delivered a second, fatal blow to the side of the victim's head. Which means what exactly? I figured it would go right over your head. Let's put it this way. By striking the victim a second time, the defendant killed her last chance to escape from any criminal wrongdoing.
She did! But how, Mr. Edgeworth?
The defendant may have been fighting back because she was being attacked. However, she then went on to deliver a fatal blow to a man who was already fully unconscious. Nick, is he saying what I think he is? I don't feel so well. And thus, Mr. Wright, has justified self-defense been removed from the table. The prosecution intends to prove that the defendant killed the victim with murderous intent. Allow me to bluntly submit the victim's autopsy report. Und da ist er schon wieder sich am Verbeugen.
Ah, hat sich verbeugt!
Dieser Spießer! So that's why he was acting all smug. Well, more smug than usual. Dieser Spießer. It's fine, right? It's not like we were going to plead self-defense anyway, right? Right, but... no, the judge has a negative impression of Alan. He may not get to prosecute much anymore, but he definitely hasn't lost his touch. Oh Mann.
Well done, Mr. Wright! You may begin your cross-examination!
Danke, Edgeworth. Aber ist ja nicht so, als ob wir wirklich auf, auf Notwehr plädiert hätten, weil wegen... Wir glauben, dass Alan es komplett nicht war, also come on. Kreuzverhör! Rundown of the case. Es reicht schon, dass Emma sich schon bereits jetzt wieder verhaspelt hat. Bei der zweiten Aussage von wegen the victim was hit with it from behind and he fell over right into the lantern. Also, dass er dann vorderein in die Kuh, Pegamu, genau, das war ja ein Pegamu, von vorne, ich kann nicht sprechen! Kopf über, vorne, in den Pegamu-Laterne gefallen ist. So, Mann. Das Foto sagt aber was anderes. Hier liegt er mit dem Rücken auf der Laterne. Detective Sky, I'm afraid I have to apologize in advance. For what? For embarrassing you in front of your idol. What do you mean? If you take a look at this photo of the crime scene, you'll see that the victim is lying on his back. But if the victim had been hit from behind as you claim, then he should have fallen over into the lantern face down. Ah! It's not enough to simply take someone's side, Detective Sky, even if it's Mr. Edgeworth.
There does appear to be a flaw in Detective Sky's testimony!
Mr. Wright, if you think I'm going to just back right down, then you're sadly mistaken. Emma is unusually fired up today. Don't forget, she's in front of her hero, Nick. If the Steel Samurai came to watch this trial, I'd want to do my absolute best too. Listen, Mr. Wright. It's entirely possible that the defendant moved the victim's body after he fell over. In that case, there wouldn't be any contradictions, right?
Indeed. There was an excellent counter-argument, Detective.
You can count on me, sir. So, what do you have to say to that, Mr. Wright?
Is it possible that the victim's body was moved after he fell into the lantern?
Wir sagen...
Nein.
Sorry, Detective, but there's no way the victim's body was moved after his death. Oh, really? And what makes you so sure?
One look at this here, and it should become obvious.
Then, die, hi, ha, ha, hu, ha, hi, ha, hu, ha, hi, ha, hu, ha.
Ich weiß jetzt gar nicht. Na, hier, Dings, Bums, bla. Hier das ganze Gerümpel. Das ganze Gerümpel, was hier auf dem Brust liegt, bla. Ich hoffe, ich treffe jetzt gerade das Richtige. Komm schon, sei nicht pingelig. Danke.
Those broken bits of the lantern. Yes, if the body had been moved after the fact, these fragments would fallen off of it. But as you can clearly see, they're lying perfectly undisturbed on top of the body. This means that the victim must have been lying face up from before the lantern even broke. You're right! But wait a minute. If that's true, then when was the victim killed? I mean, the lantern was still whole during the reception, right?
Right, which means we've just overturned a major assumption about this case.
If the victim was already dead before the lantern was even broke, then the body must have been inside the lantern since before the reception started. In other words, the defense asserts that the victim was killed before the wedding reception.
What?
Da ist er wieder! Da geht er wieder los! In short, when Miss White was seen standing in front of the body after the reception, it wasn't the moment just after the murder was committed. It was the moment she happened to discover the body, just as Miss White claims. Ah!
Whether the act was committed before or after the reception is entirely inconsequential. After all, it was the defendant who prepared the reception hall for the event in question. Therefore, when a murder occurred, changes nothing with regard to her guilt. She could have killed the victim before the reception, as you claim.
and then tried to hide his body in the lantern after the event ended.
Sorry, but that doesn't make any sense. I mean, where would the body have been hidden during the reception in your scenario?
That's...
Even you have to admit, Mr. Edgeworth, that this has opened up a new possibility.
Do explain, Mr. Wright.
Well, if Miss White didn't commit the crime in the reception hall, then that means someone, somewhere, put the victim's body into the lantern.
I suppose that makes sense! And that body couldn't have put itself in there!
Exactly, Your Honor. In other words, if the murder actually occurred before the reception, it opens up the possibility that...
dass er woanders getötet wurde.
If the body was hidden inside the lantern, then it's possible that the body was moved along with it from somewhere else. Oh, you're right!
You can run that mouth of yours all you want. But do you have any evidence to support what's coming out of it, Mr. Wright?
Of course I do! I think the answer lies in that piece of evidence and in something that was left at the crime scene that will point us to where the victim was really killed.
Very well, Mr. Wright, in that case! What proves that the lantern and the body were moved from somewhere else?
Der Beweis wäre nochmal das Foto vom Opfer. Denn hier befindet sich tatsächlich etwas, was es nur woanders gibt. The photo of the victim again? Yes. I'd like the court to focus on this thing, right here. Das wäre... Ja, eines der Blüten halt. Ich müsste jetzt nur den richtigen erwischen. Und jetzt... Wehe, Spiel, dass du jetzt auf die Idee kommst von wegen, es muss aber diese Blüte sein. Die sehen alle gleich aus, for fuck's sake. Ah, dann... Ach gut, dann nehme ich hier das am Bein. Flower petals, Mr. Wright. These petals are from a kind of flower that were not present at the reception hall. This means they must gotten into the lantern when it was somewhere else.
And just where do you propose this somewhere else to be, Mr. Wright?
I propose that this piece of evidence will tell us where the flower petals came from. Ja, und das hat uns Larry ja freundlicherweise gegeben. Hier das Foto vom Hold. Das sind nämlich die entsprechenden Blumen. Hier, rechts. Die Blumen, zu der auch diese Blüten gehören. Please take a look at the flowers in this picture of the hold. Notice how their petals are of the same shape as the petals in the crime scene photo.
Yes, I see! They do look to me from the same kind of flower! Is that really all you've got? A flower is a flower is a flower. They're all the same. I would hardly call what you presented compelling evidence. I'm afraid I couldn't disagree with you more, Mr. Edgeworth! I gave a flower of this type to my lovely wife once we were young! So I can assure you that this is very meaningful and compelling evidence indeed! The soundness of my judgment in this matter is backed by nothing less than pure love! Die Liebe siegt, motherfucker!
But, Your Honor. Let it go. Let it go, Mr. Edgeworth. It's clear you don't know much about flowers. Let it go. Let it go. It's not like you can have anyone you'd actually give any to after all. But maybe you should study up on them, just in case the opportunity presents itself. Und guck vielleicht Frozen. No! Ich werd nicht Frozen gucken! It's from the man who only knows the names of 3 types of flowers! That's hardly relevant to the case at hand! The defense asserts that this highly probable that the victim was killed in the hold. If the body was in the place the lantern and moved... ich kann nicht sprechen. If the body was then placed in the lantern and moved to the reception hall for some reason. It would completely destroy the prosecution's case! Then you mean the body was... Yes, the victim's body was... inside the lantern during the entire beautiful wedding reception. While the defendant and her betrothed... Betrothed? Das Wort kenne ich gar nicht. While the defendant and her betrothed were celebrating their love. What? Highly possible. Das ist sehr möglich, ja. Your smooth talk might work on his honor, but it won't work on me. What are you talking about now? Take another look at all of the evidence and you'll soon see what I mean. I wish he would just tell me already. Detective Sky, I'm sure you've already figured out what I'm talking about, correct? Of course, sir. Mr. Wright is the only one here who hasn't. Why don't you leave this to me, Mr. Edgeworth? Very well. Let's see what you can do. Detective Sky, please give your testimony to this court! Emma? Was ist das jetzt wieder? Okay. The victim could not have been killed before the reception. The autopsy report states that the estimated time of death was after the reception. And that estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. It's clear Mr. Bloomsbury was killed after the reception. And that completely contradicts your claim. I guess so. Tell me you took at least a cursory glance at the autopsy report, Mr. Wright. It appears you've grown rusty since your last outing. Might I suggest you go back and brush up on the basics? Sure, though I must say, you're as cocky as ever, Mr. Edgeworth. I beg your pardon? What are you trying to say, Mr. Wright? I'm just saying that I'll go back to basics, if that's what Mr. Edgeworth wants. I'll prove how badly he's underestimating me with a good old-fashioned cross-examination. Very well, let's see you put your money where your mouth is, Mr. Wright! Ach, ihre Rivalität ist so schön einfach. Immer wieder ein Vergnügen. Reizverhör! The prosecution's rebuttal. Denn Emma hat schon wieder einen Fehler gemacht. Das klingt so böse, aber es ist leider Fakt. That estimated time of death is correct. There's no way it could be wrong. Ja, man kann das aber auch ziemlich einfach manipulieren. Hier ist ja immerhin eine Nebelmaschine und die wird mit, ach Gottchen. Die wird mit Trockeneis bedient. Und Kälte kann Todeszeitpunkte sehr gut manipulieren. That's a fact! I admit that the estimated time of death does contradict my theory. Finally, and that means your theory that the victim was killed before the reception is still entirely plausible. Huh? What makes you think that? The killer could have falsified the time of death by using a certain item in the reception hall. Please take a look at this.
And what is that contraption, Mr. Wright?
It's a fog machine, Your Honor, used to create a special romantic atmosphere in the hall.
And this machine could have been used to falsify the time of death?
Yes, Your Honor, because this machine uses dry ice to perform its magic.
Dry ice? Oh yes, the super cold stuff commonly used to make theatrical fog, right? I see, so your claim is that this dry ice was used to keep the body cold.
Oh, in that case, I guess the victim could have been killed before the reception.
Sie gibt es zu! Ha! Ein Hoch auf die Wissenschaft! Sie hat uns die Wissenschaft beigebracht. Trotzdem! Oder in the court! Sonst gibt's die Thronpropos! Well, Mr. Edgeworth, what do you have to say about this development?
That the victim was killed in the hold before the wedding reception? The prosecution acknowledged the possibility of this claim. Now we're getting somewhere! The prosecution would also like to thank you, Mr. Wright. Huh? For what? I didn't know how a certain piece of evidence fit into this case. But now, thanks to you, I do. What piece of evidence? To get into the hold, one needs a keycard, like this one. And here, we have a record of those who entered the hold with such keycards. The times aren't specified, but these are the last 3 entries on the day of the murder. And as you can see, the last person to enter the hold that day was the defendant.
What? So the one who moved the body out of the hold must have been...
That's right. It was none other than the defendant.
Edgeworth, why?
Hey Nick, take a look at this entry record. There are a couple of other names on there besides Alan's. Hey, you're right. According to the entry record, Mr. Edgeworth, Pierce Cody had also gone into the hold. Isn't it possible that he could have been the culprit?
Objection.
Sorry, but Mr. Nicoli was escorting a few of the guests at the time. I'm sure they would be happy to testify to that fact if you'd like. Think me cocky all you'd like, Mr. Wright, but my confidence is rarely misplaced.
Ow!
Now then, it's probably safe to assume that after killing the victim in the hold, the defendant moved this body to the hall in order to dispose of it discreetly. What do you mean by discreetly? The defendant volunteered to take care of the reception's cleanup personally. That means she would have had the chance to dispose of anything in any way she wanted, including taking the lantern of the airship without raising any suspicion. Don't tell me you didn't know about Miss White volunteering for cleanup duty, Mr. Wright. For my last task as a servant of the Sprocket household, I offered to take on the preparation and cleanup for the reception banquet. I see.
Das hat sie uns ja selbst gesagt.
Look at you, sweating buckets like a rookie, even after all these years. Nevertheless, thank you for proving that the only person who could have killed the victim in the hold is Alan Wyatt.
Ah! Great job, Phoenix! Now we're back to square one! Perhaps you should ask Miss Sykes for some help in reviewing Defense for Dummies.
Lass Athene aus dem Spiel!
Way to go, sir! You've got Mr. Wright in a cold sweat. I wonder if maybe the promise of seeing that miserable look on his face is what brought me back to court today.
So ein Sack! Verarsch mich doch nicht! Also, das lasse ich mir nicht gefallen! Im nächsten Part geht's weiter! Dann gebe ich dir! Come at me, Bro! Egal, positiv oder negativ, Bewertung, mehr, gern gesehen, das war's soweit. Also, wir sehen uns das nächste Mal wieder. Sehr geil! Come at me, Bro!